Hi guys! Sorry we're getting started a little bit late today. I was just waiting for some people to get out of open gym so that we could have the space to ourselves a little bit. But thank you for coming to class today. We are going to be starting this third class talking about balance splits. And now, balance splits were part of the requirements that I had in order for you to get into this group. So I know that you guys are already a bit proficient in this skill, but I wanted to take some time to go over just a little bit of prep work that you can incorporate into your own teaching if you are a coach. And then I wanted to give you my progressions from balance split 1 to 4 if we have time. Hopefully you, actually I'm not going to be going through our split warm-up today. My splits are already warm, and I would ask that you already have your splits warm as well before going through these exercises. We are going to begin with kind of a standing warm-up on the floor with our fabric to get our hips warmed up and to really get our like double wrap or dancer wraps really strong. So to begin, we're going to separate the fabric, and we're going to be going through this very particular motion, which is in ballet terms, passe, arabesque, rondingeon, right? So that's going to be passe, pointing your foot right to your knee, arabesque, pushing your leg all the way back behind you, and rondingeon, keeping that leg high as you bring it all the way towards the front. Now when you do this, I'm going to ask that you keep a little bit of ballet technique and keep your hips turned out. That's going to be important for replicating the how the movement is going to work in the air, because we are going to be going for more of a straddle when we do these in the air than a pike. So let's get started. So I like to have my students warm up with these anytime we're going to be working on skills with double wraps. You start out by separating your two pieces of fabric. Like I said, you want to come into a more turned out position with the legs. You can use a little bit of grip on the silk to balance, and we're going to start out with our passe. Okay? We're going to begin the movement with a développé out to the side, and then a passe back in with the silk in the middle of our figure 4, right? Right in the knee. Now this is where the trick begins. You want to keep that leg turned out as you push your leg back through an arabesque, keeping your chest nice and high, then rondingeoning your leg up and around to finish with a turn out, and passeing back in, right? That passe, once you passe, that silk should wrap right on your ankle, not on your foot, right? So you want to keep that heel nice and high so it will stay up nice and high. Arabesque, rondingeon, passe. Yeah, and it should be wrapping nice and beautifully down your legs. So you can, I don't know if you can see, but the 3 wraps are nice and gradual down my leg, right? At the end, you're going to unwrap with 3 clean unwraps. 1, 2, 3. 3 circles. Making sure that that exit is just as clean as the exercise, right? And always make sure to do both sides. I'm going to do my left side turn so you can see a different angle. So, développé to passe to begin, then arabesque, rondingeon, passe, arabesque, rondingeon, passe, arabesque, rondingeon, passe. And 1, 2, 3, you have any questions so far on those? Like I said, I usually use that as a warm-up anytime we're going to be working on skills with double wraps, which balance splits are definitely one. And I start these with almost all the way to my very beginning students. I probably wouldn't do these on a very first class, but very soon after would I start working on these, because eventually when we take this up to the air, it will make your students' double wraps make so much more sense, right? I'm going to give you now just a conditioning climb once your students are proficient with their double wraps, that they can work on to make them a little cleaner and give them a little bit more of a challenge. So we're going to be starting with 2 wraps, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then I'll see if I can get to 6. So beginning with 1 climb, I'm going to separate the fabric and come to a bench arm hang, and then again we're going to be starting out in that développé, this time in straddle, then passé, arabesque, rondeggiant, passé, arabesque, rondeggiant around. Yeah? 2, nice and easy. I reach up and give it a pull up, unwrap, begin again, trying for 3. 1, 2, 3, unwraps just as clean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that my toes are showing, and so are my heels. That's when you know you've done it clean. And we unwrap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that conditioning climb will not only continue to work the hips to start to warm them up, but also we'll start to engage the upper body, and I feel it's a really good one for beginning students who are working on their double wraps, all the way up through advanced students who you can challenge by going to fully 6 wraps. I think maybe my record is 7. So get your advanced students to, or yourself, challenge yourself by seeing how many wraps that you can do clean. You can also change up the exercise by alternating legs. So you do 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and so on. And you can play with it a little bit more as well. And if you guys are just joining now, I've gone through 2 exercises to begin working for our double wraps or our dancer footlocks. You'll be able to go back and see those on the replay, or know that this video will be reposted onto Patreon after. Speaking of which, thanks to Nicole Nance for becoming a patron this week. We are up to 5. And once we get to 20, I will start doing a second class per week. So if you guys support me on Patreon, then I can invest a little bit more time into this, and you'll get double the amount of class time for just 1 drop-in class fee. So you can go check that out. We are now going to move on into our balance splits, the meat of our class for today. Our first 2 levels of balance split are going to be from a triple wrap. So I know I had one student who DM'd me a couple questions about keeping her wraps on in a triple wrap. And so I want to talk about that for just a second. So this could be a struggle for me as well as a lot of silk artists. Sometimes your triple wraps just refuse to stay on, but mostly it's a trick of tension. So some ways that you can increase the amount of tension in your triple wrap is to, number one, roll up your leggings. It's going to be a lot easier to stick onto your skin than fabric onto fabric. There are some pair of leggings that I have that it is pretty much literally impossible to keep my triple wrap cinch on. So first things first, just pull up that leggings, your foot of your leggings over your calf. Of course, that's not generally an option for performing. So other things that you can do is compress deeper into your pike compression to really cinch those wraps up to your ankle. You can include a fourth wrap over your ankle in order to create a little bit more tension. And make sure that the pull ends up kind of cutting in more towards your foot than being all the way out from the wrap that you've created. So try and get it to overlap a little bit over your wrap rather than being the highest point of your wrap. Is there anything else? I'm gonna go through triple wrap, and from there I'm going to begin by showing you my level 1 balance split. So the balance split that I can basically get any student to do no matter what level, as long as they can wrap a double or triple wrap. And then I'll push out more to that level 2 balance split that I had you all show me for entrance into Coach Brandon Scott. And I'll give you a visual of a straddle balance before I give you some tips for that too. So again, I'm going to roll up my leggings really fast. It's going to be a lot easier if you've got that calf showing. My other tip for training balance splits is that it's 100% okay to just do your balance splits really low so that you have a little bit more confidence and can get more training tonight. 1, 2, 3. All right. I usually like to come to my knees first and then straighten through my legs to really finish that cinch. Now, as I go up, I'm going to bring my back leg through the middle and flex my feet. This double stack is what I consider a level 1 balance split. It's pretty simple because really all we're balancing is from knee to knee. Since both those parts of my limbs, both those joints are stacked right underneath the fabric, I'm really only having to control my thighs, right? And I've got that pull nice and close to kind of lean on if I feel myself leaning too far to one side. Now, as I développe this front leg, I'm going to push my pole all the way up into that wrap, and then développe my back leg, and I'm in my level 2 balance split. So now I am bouncing from about the bottom of my calf muscle to the bottom of my calf muscle. So a little bit more difficult, but still achievable for a lot of students. Really want to be concentrating on engaging through both of your quads, as well as your piriformis in the back leg right here. Right? Now as I switch and come to my straddle, I want to be sitting back in my straddle as if I'm in more of a pancake rather than a middle split. So don't let your hips tip forward. keep your butt seated back. And usually I like to start out here with just my hands open and off, but kind of bouncing back in. If you'd like more of a level 1 version, you can bend your knees just like with our double stack. This is what I would consider like level 1 straddle balance. Level 2, you can think about kind of keeping that pole high up at the knees, right? And level 3, coming all the way to those ankles. Nice clean and wraps. Does that make sense, you guys? Will you let me know if you have any questions in the comments? So, just to repeat myself a little bit for those straddle balances, you really want to think about your straddle balance like a straddle pancake on the floor rather than a middle split. So, pelvis tucked back, tailbone turning towards the floor. And that will keep your body more in balance, right? That's it. Sit back will be able to counterbalance your torso as you lean forward. So you can try that with bent legs to begin, and then make it more difficult the more that you push those poles out to your ankles. So to finish up, we're gonna go through level 3 and then level 4 for balance splits. For these, you are gonna come into your foot locks. It doesn't necessarily matter, but with the theme of the day being our double wraps, I'm gonna do my double wrap foot locks. And then we're gonna go through 2 ways to get into our level 3 balance split, and then level 4 is just your foot wraps all by themselves. Nice and clean. Step. Now to get into my right leg split balance, I'm going to turn towards my right leg and come into chair. Then I'm going to reach above my head and turn around as if I'm going to go to cross-back straddle. Right. From here, I simply bring my bent leg foot through the poles and push that leg all the way to the back. Right. So hopefully, as you can see, I know I'm turning a bit. I'm balancing now from my ankle in the back to my calf in the front, like more like the triple wrap split. So that's why I consider this level 3. You can make this one a little bit more challenging the more that you push this front pull down to your ankle. Right. I turn to my other leg and turn one time out to get back to neutral. And doing that exit backwards is another way to get into this trick. So to get onto my right leg, I'm going to go into my left leg split, do one split turn, and then switch to my other leg. That makes sense? Once you feel really confident with that level 3 balance split, it's time finally to begin working on your level 4, which is just simply foot locks, right? So balancing from ankle to ankle. Something else that you're going to want to consider for balance splits is that you really want your hips to be square. I know this is more difficult for aerialists with a dancer background, so it's something that you just need to work on if you want to have really nice balance splits in your repertoire. Another thing that you want to be aware of is if you are very flexible or hypermobile in your hips and have really deep oversplits, you may work on your balance splits in your oversplit, but in order to do that, you have to release really far through your muscles and give up a lot of strength in order to create equilibrium in such a flex position. So I would say it's necessary to balance that by also working on your balance split with just a 180-degree horizontal line. So use your musculature and your strength to keep yourself from descending all the way into your oversplit and keeping that nice straight line. That's going to be extremely necessary, especially as we move through to balance split number 5 and 6, which is our descent from stand and especially in our ascent from balance split back up to stand, as well as our more creative balance splits past those. So we've got a long balance split journey to keep going on, but you guys are already started. So for our homework this week, since I've already seen you perform your level 2 balance split, I would love to see you go for either the level 3 or the level 4. Remember, you can do these super low. You can even do them low enough that you can purposefully fall onto the mat below you and be safe. I'm happy to see it just a few inches off the floor making those footlocks. And tag me in your homework. So thank you guys so much for coming to class today. Let me know if you have requests for class next week, and if you'd like to see the full replay of this week's class as well as our 2 previous classes, then you can click that link in my bio and become a Patreon. Thanks guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.